Hey everyone, it's Mad, along with our newest slime, Goo. And yes, we're all Goo. We just got kind of a little shock to me announcement that we're getting Orgodemir true form instead of his human form first. And let me tell you about his awesomeness next, so stay tuned. Alright, so we have it on screen here. Demon King Ragdomir is a very, very, very powerful boss type. And I'm kind of already telling you, I think this is by far the best unit on the banner, being rough at distance second, and then the other units being third and fourth. Um, his leadership effect is actually incredibly useful in PvE and actually can be useful in PvP as well, depending on the units that you're bringing forth. Reducing enemy attack power by 20% is very, very large, especially when you include his innate skill, which he gets at level 1, that greatly increases his spell defensive power and defensive power. I should say spell resistance power for the first 3 turns, making him incredibly useful to be a tank without being a tank, and just being able to absorb damage early on and then just keep on dishing it out farther and farther throughout the entire battle. His first attack, Magic Claw, is actually really useful for both the large AoE it has. As you can see, it's a 3x2 with a range of 2 that inflicts decent frizz damage and will occasionally reduce power for 1 turn to an enemy or reduce their attack power. So if you include that with his reducing enemy attack power and all of that, that is just absolutely incredible utility, especially as I say in PvE. Second skill, this is where becomes really good in PvP and PvE. He is the Demon King, so he will do 400% physical damage to boss types and 250% power to all other units in a straight line. So in PvP, this is the skill that you're probably actually going to use the most against the question mark enemies. And in case also it's a neutral element too, so it will do this damage to any, and it is just massively powerful and will just absolutely obliterate end bosses, which are generally the highest end class for PvE. Yes, there are some heroes that we have to fight too, but a lot of them tend to be question mark units. Top end skill. The only problem I have of it, I'd actually rather have Heaven and Earth as my third skill, and Horrible Shock is 2. But Horrible Shock is not a bad skill either, which is a ZAM based damage to all enemies, 250%, and will occasionally lower ZAM resist for 2 turns as well, which will allow you to do additional damage. Even to enemies that are semi-immune to it, you can lower it as well. This is a great skill. I personally like Heaven and Earth a little bit better, but there's a lot of arguments here. So at this point, we just make this as a huge win. His first skill is movement +1 for awakening, very very important. Second and fourth is ZAM and then zap resistance, and then horrible shock power 5% is third and fifth. No surprises there. Level 120 stats, because now we're in the 120 era. His HP and attack aren't the highest, but they're in the top 5 to 10%, top 10% of all enemies, including JP, and probably closer to 5% right now in global. So very high HP, very high attack, and decent damage. So this guy can absorb a lot of hits, especially in the first 3 turns. The MP is at 372, which can go quickly here, especially with no MP resistance. So it is going to be very important to increase the skills to lower this MP consumption as much as you can. And in all honesty, this is probably his greatest weakness, with the second greatest weakness of his agility being good, but not fantastic at 360. His wisdom's at 225, so you're not going to be teaching him mid-heal, but otherwise, don't really care. Movement is 3 if you get his first dupe, and if you are going to be pulling for Orgodemir, you need to make sure that you get that. And the last one is way to 65, which is what all question mark units are like. Right now, his weapon will be releasing at the same time he is. And we should be getting the second half of the Dragon Quest VII event with him, or at least that's what I'm expecting. And if not, it'll be coming out soon afterwards. It is an attack plus 28 that gives Sam physical power plus 5%. This is his weapon. You can get it in the Metal Exchange. You can get it in a few other places too. Skills to look for in Alchemy is Sam attack power and horrible impact power. Surprise, surprise. And there's HP and attack in there as well. Most likely, unless if you don't get him, you're probably going to be really... I'm going to be eyeing the horrible impact power, but if you get Sam attack power, that's great as well. Probably the overall skill here that we're going to be looking for is that horrible impact power. And then I'm going to try to get as much attack as I can along with that, just because for me, the skill that I like the best that I think I'm going to be using is going to be Heaven and Earth. But as I say, I know Horrible Shock, if you get really lucky or you go really deep, will get you even more power. So that's why I think Horrible Impact Power is going to be what I'm shooting for this weapon. But we shall see. Lately, my luck for rolling has been poor at best. Preferred learned skills. Most likely it's Tempest Slash, but that's a problem. A lot of units like Tempest Slash, so you can also look for Aeolian Slash and Blizzard Rush. That will give him 3 elements. And personally, I will probably go for Aeolian Slash only because I could see him pairing up with my Rough, which I'm very happy I got, considering I didn't really pull very hard for him. And I think they're going to make a very good combo, with Rough needing a little bit of help in the reduced enemy attack power, and Rough going side by side with Orgodemir, which obviously is going to be a weird sight. But they work really, really well together, especially if we have another whoosh damage to go along with it. But in all honesty, I'm not even sure you need to teach Orgodemir skills, because this Heaven and Earth is going to work really, really nice. The only reason to teach it is it's only 17 MP, and it will allow him to do a little bit more damage than just a normal attack does in the last couple of rounds in a very long PvE battle. Pros, cons, and pull. Pros, he has great, I'm not going to say insane, but he has great attack power with great range that makes him a great arena and an insane PvE unit. His only problem for arena is that he is a weight 65. And I still don't see that as a big of an issue yet. But even so, I think he's a better unit for PvE than he is for arena. Only because in the next 2 months, we're going to start getting a couple of 50 weight units that are just absolutely insane for Arena that kind of push back Demon King a little bit. But even then, those units are still very, very nice to go along with Demon King. He has high-powered attacks with multiple elements, and you have the ability to give him another element as well, so that he comes with 2 elements that are both very useful, and that third element that you can add is just an absolute insane bonus. And he has a non-elemental attack to go along with it that has a lot of power behind it. So from a move-based set, this is a very well-designed physical attack kit. And his innate ability is that he can have increased defense and spell resistance for 3 turns, for the first 3 turns of a battle. So he can really soak up damage, especially if you include it with the leadership effect. And all in all, is just a insane PvE unit against larger enemies. And really hard to go much else than that. These are just fantastic pros to go through. Cons: his agility is the big drawback, and if you're going to give him his weapon, he doesn't get much more plus agility compared to the others. And so he is a little slow. He's not incredibly slow, so this is not a huge con. But this is probably his greatest weakness. Actually, I'm not going to say probably. This is his greatest weakness. Second greatest weakness is that he needs a dupe for the extra movement, and it is kind of necessary. Even though he has good range, being able to move 3 so that you can get him to the front is needed so that you can use his innate skill. So this is the only problem, is that you want to make sure that on turns 2 and 3 that Orgodemir is going to get hits so he can absorb, or even more so, maybe in some of the PvEs, he can actually be used to take out an enemy by himself, where you have a tank and then 2 others maybe attack and healing the tank, making sure it's okay, and then Orgodemir comes back and helps you finish off unit, etc. That could be very useful for that too. But once again, it's that agility is not as high as I'd love to see, and that movement is a little slow. But it is not the worst. The last one here is the MP is a little low for some of his skills. So his really big boy skill is you can only do once or twice before you start really seeing the MP going down a little bit again. So just be careful of his MP pool because he cannot regenerate it. And that kinda sucks. Will I pull? I'm pretty sure with this review you can definitely tell how excited I am for this, for both Arena and PvE. I'm a little bit more excited about PvE than I am about Arena, to be honest. And I'm very excited for Arena, so you could tell how super awesome he is in PvE. We're about to run out of units that are really, really great for PvE. We're going to start going into a more of arena type unit design kit. Marquise de Lyon is going to come out in probably a month from now, and it is a great arena unit with a good PvE set. And we're going to get some dragons, and my kid is really excited about dragons, but all in all, we're really running out of these super PvE units that we've been getting fairly quickly on the past 2 or 3 months. So, once again, this is going to be a pretty set team with a Stark, Orgodemir, Seraphy, and a couple other units there. They're going to be kind of a set team for a lot of PvE content in the future. And as I say, there's not much going to be replacing them for any period of time. So, very, very excited for this unit. So let's go with Terrorhawk. I believe he's down here. Oh no, they did not even put the Terrorhawk down there. This is the A unit. In all honesty, this is going to be pretty surprising to a lot of people, but with such a good S unit Demon King, Terrorhawk is a pretty good A unit as well. And it is a breath damage unit. I've got the level 100 stats here. HP is good. Defense is okay. Its agility and MP are great, especially for the skills that it uses. The movement is kind of the big issue with the Terrahawk here, but its increased first breath power by 10% leadership effect is good for itself, but really you're not going to be using it for much. The main skill here, Confuse, will occasionally confuse an enemy, which you're not going to use very often. It's the Fire Breath and Burning Fireball that is by far the useful skills. I love the Burning Fireball, inflict first breath damage to one enemy and occasionally lowers breath resistance for 3 turns. This is going to be very useful for obviously itself and for dragon teams as well. This is a little bit better unit for movement than the Nature Dragon that we're going to get in probably the next month. It also has more attack, just doesn't have nearly as much HP or defense as the Nature Dragon, which I'm not even sure anything's going to have that much. And the Fire Breath skill is actually a pretty nice skill as well. For a weapon, you're just going to look for breath skills. And also, the nice thing is A units really get better with their bonus skills. And this is a unit that you want to give a breath skill to. So you just add another breath element if possible. And lowering the breath resistance and on all the rest. For units that have breath, like a Stark, Terrahawk can be useful as well. So, from an arena standpoint, there is a good use for Terrahawk. PvE, much less, but at this point, for A units, you're mostly going to be going with arena or the like the last slot for a PvE and like some of the more like the Sorrow type events where you can only use certain units at certain times. All in all, this is a pretty solid banner. So, I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Please give a like and subscribe. What are your thoughts on this banner? I thought this wasn't going to come out for another week, so personally, I am super excited. And you know what? I'm going to probably pull. This will be coming out probably 24 hours after I get this video up, so it'll be this Sunday at basically 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time. So it's going to be probably I will be pulling either Monday or Tuesday. So this is a unit that I've been really waiting for. Fortunately, the other 2 big units that I've been waiting for a while are also going to be coming out relatively soon. I'm probably going to do the 15 pull here and a 15 pull for Marquis de Lyon. If I do much better and don't need it, then I will be very happy and might be able to get a little bit more for Demon Beast Vera as well. But good luck to everyone who is interested in pulling, and I hope to see you guys later. And more importantly, my Blue Slime family is increasing, and I hope to increase it some more. Later, everyone. Goodbye.